In this video, I'm going to go over how to download and install VirtualBox and Kali Linux. The first thing you want to do is go to virtualbox.org and download the VirtualBox 6.1. You just click on it, and these options are going to come up. There's two downloads you're going to want to do from here. The first one is, if you're using Windows, is to download the Windows host. Once you've downloaded it and installed it, the next thing you're going to want to do is download the VirtualBox extension pack right here. But we'll do one at a time first and see how that goes. So let's do this. And it's going to download, and it'll show up as an executable in your downloads directory. So all you need to do is go there and double click it, and this will come up. Then just click next. Now here is where you're going to want to change some of the directory where it might be located and some of your other options. Usually I'll just leave everything as is and just say, okay, let's just do this. I usually will have it do all this because that's all good, and that's fine. Install. Yes. It'll take a few minutes to do all the installs, all the installs that it's doing. But once it's done, you'll get this window here, and you just click Finish. Now, in my case, once it's done loading, because I've had this loaded before on this machine, it's going to notice that I had an older version of the VirtualBox extension pack, and it's asking me if I want to download a new one. So I'm going to click Yes. But for you guys, if this is the first time you've loaded this, you're going to want to go right here to the VirtualBox extension package and then click on this. Well, I'm done with the first part as far as downloading VirtualBox and installing it. And it has here my original VirtualBox, but it's actually been upgraded. And you can tell that if I go to the Help and I do About VirtualBox, it's going to show me right here that this is version 6.1.12, which is the latest version. Next, you're going to want to go to the Offensive Security site. And I will include the links to the sites you'll need in the description. So when you come here, unless you're using VMware, which for our purposes we're using VirtualBox, you want to be in the VirtualBox option, and I'm going to pick the Kali Linux VirtualBox 64-bit. It's going to download. Now the download of the Kali Linux is quite large. You see, it's 3.2 gigabytes. So it could take a long time depending on your download broadband. So I have a pretty good download broadband, so mine's going to come down pretty good, pretty fast. Okay, so now we're done with this page. It's been fully downloaded, and it's now my downloads file. So I'm going to grab it here in a minute and set it up. I'm back in my Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. Now, you won't have any of these if you haven't loaded virtual machines before. So, but I'm going to go through the process of doing this from scratch. So just pretend like these don't exist, and we're going to load this brand new. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to need to import the file we just downloaded. And the way we do that is we go to File, and we go to Import Appliance. And we need to go find it. And so I'm going to do that and load. So it should look like this. I have found it in this directory, and it's the .ova file, and I'm going to load it from there. Once you've clicked on it, you'll get this window, and I would just make sure all these items are checked because I do want it to have this access. And once this is done, you can say, okay, let's import this. This is fine. Let's agree and do it. Okay, so now it's loaded. It's right here in the Kali Linux 2020.3 VBox AMD 64. It's powered off right now, and you power it on by clicking the Start button. Now over here you'll see this preview where it's running. To actually bring it into your focus, into your screen, all you need to do is click Show here, and it'll bring it right up. Now the passwords used to be Kelly and Tor, but that's they've changed now. So now the new passwords are Kelly, I believe that's right. And so it's Kelly again. I'll put that in the description. And that's it. We now have Kelly Linux loaded, and we're able to start working in this environment. So I could maximize this to my screen and prepare to do some maintenance in Kelly Linux. Now to get to the command console, you simply just click on the command console here, and you're in Kelly. This is now Kelly. We have the command console opened, and we're ready to do some work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a command called apt, and let me code a little bit, and then I'll explain what's going on here. Okay, so what this is the apt command is what we use to tell Kelly that we're going to install or remove a package that's in Kelly. So we use apt for that. Apt update will refresh the list of repositories on the system, and really what it does is it just checks the system to make sure that the new packages are available from the online Kelly Linux servers. The update command takes those packages and installs them, and that's all that's going on there. Now, as far as this part right here, the end, all that's doing is combining the two commands. So updates, and then as soon as it updates, it upgrades, and the Y just says go ahead and run these commands. And that's really about it. So let's see what happens. Okay, so let me try that again and see what's going on. Okay, so what I did is I needed to put the command sudo in front of it. So you have to do this with the new Kelly, because we're not working from the root directory, from the root permissions anymore, like we used to do in old Kelly. So in old Kelly, this code right here would work, but if we're going to run a command like this, we need to precede it with sudo, so that way it can actually have the permissions to do the update and the upgrade. And so you'll get this little message right here, and we say okay, great, and then it'll ask you to do the type in the password for Kelly, which again, unless you changed it, it's just Kelly again. And then it starts working, starts doing its thing, and it tells me that some things failed to download. Usually when this happens, it's because there's problems with my the internet security software. So in my case, for example, I'm using Kaspersky. So even though it hurts to do it, I will pause it and then rerun it, and that usually solves the problem. Now, when you do this fresh install with the latest version of Kelly Linux, it should already have some of the latest updates installed, especially after we did the update command that I showed you earlier. But should you want to load some software in here that, while you want to make sure that it's there, I'm going to look for the nmap. So you just type in apt-get install nmap. And so it tells me that it's there, it's already the latest version, no problem. Great. So the next thing I'm going to do, oh, and by the way, the way to, in Kelly Linux, all you need to do is hit your up arrow key, and your last command will come up. That makes it really simple, so you don't have to do all the retyping. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to grab Python 3. Okay, so now I'm going to have to go look for it because it has no installation candidate. So give me a moment and I'll go find it. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Having loaded the latest version of Kelly into the upgrades, it already had Python 3 installed. So I did the command right here, and it's already here. It tells me that it's the newest version. So good to go. Excellent. I don't think it'll come with the idle, with the IDLE, which is the editor for Python. I like to work in the idle for my programming in Python, and so I'm going to go ahead and install it. And I'm pretty sure it won't have that one. So let's go back into our Kali, and this time I'm going to just ask it for the idle 3 and see what happens. And it didn't find that either. Okay. So I have to get installed. Okay, well, let me find out what's going on with that. Okay, so one of the issues I had is I had forgotten to connect to the network. And so that's really a pretty simple thing to do. If you go to input here, or excuse me, devices, and down to network settings, make sure that you have this set up to, I would use bridged adapter. And you can read through these, and there's different ways you can set these up, but I would use bridged adapter so that you can use the same network as your main system that the virtual machine is sitting on. And then the name of my controller that I'm using is this. Yours is going to be different. Yours is going to be something else. And it's going to be whatever the controller that connects you to the internet is. For some of you, it might be a wireless internet connection. For if you're using a wireless laptop or something. But like for me, myself, I have an Ethernet connection, and I'm using the Ethernet connection right here, which is using this PCI port. So all you need to do is check and see what adapter your main system is using, and then use that. If you have any problems with your download, again, pause your antivirus software and then rerun the downloads, and that usually does it. I'll go through some of the commands that you need to run. Let me pause mine also. Again. So I'm going to pause my protection. I'll just quick pause and then restart. Okay. Now, some of the commands that I wanted to use. Let's do this one. We're going to do. We're just going to do the sudo straight up update, and you'll see it starts showing you what is available to update. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is go here and do, you can list these if you want to. For example, you can type in the list here, and it'll list all the different ones that you could upgrade. Then what I would do is do upgrade. I'm going to show you all that. So yes. Then it starts doing its thing. I'll pause till it's done. And next you're going to want to do the distribute upgrade. So I've just typed in right here, distribute dash upgrade. And I'll do that. And then, like I was saying, I like to work in the idle, so I went ahead and issued the command sudo apt-get install idle 3, and that's the editor that I like to work with Python. And then once you click it, it'll ask you if you want to continue. You say yes, and then it'll load it, and then you have the idle. Let's see what else. The other item I went ahead and installed the pip. So that's just sudo apt-get install python 3-pip. And once it's done that, it'll ask you if you want to continue right here. You say yes, and then it will install it. There might be a couple more I want to install. So a couple more that I installed is I went ahead and I installed the Bluetooth scanner. And so you can see I typed it in right here, apt-get install BT scanner. And I did make the mistake of not using the word sudo, so I did it again here, sudo apt-get install bit scanner, and it installed. There was another one I installed. Let's see. Just Bluetooth right here, and you can see that. And it installed. Okay. So this menu right here is where you can do some things. I like to clear the active terminal every once in a while so I can actually work again. And one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up my idle so I can work in it. You just type in idle, and it pops right up. And then here's where you can actually create a new file, write some code, and run your Python. So it is pretty handy, and I will go over this later, but right now I just wanted to do the install and the setup, and I think we did that. There was one thing I missed on the network. Make sure that you double click right here on the network icons right here, because if you don't click on it and check it, it'll disconnect it. So make sure this right here is blinking and checked, and you can tell it's blinking green, and that means it's active. If you have any problems with your connectivity, it's probably right here on your network settings. And remember, it's the input, devices, network settings, and then this right here will tell you your status, and you can right click on it. Okay, well that is it. Let me power down. I'm going to just, I guess I'll shut it down. I'm really glad I went over that, because some of the settings had changed in the new Kali Linux and the VirtualBox, and so that was a good thing to go over again. Now, one other thing that you might want to do, as long as I'm thinking about it, is in your shared folders, you might want to share some folders between your main system and in Kali. It's helpful for moving things back and forth. But it also, if you mess up something in Kali and you get a virus or something, then it's going to propagate to your main machine. So there's a little bit of risk in that. Because the idea is to have this sandbox so that whatever you do here doesn't impact your main setup. Okay, well that is it. I guess I'll end with that. I will throw some information in the description of this channel so that you can see any notes I might have. All right, thank you.